All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the FNG Academy. Today we're going to talk about my experience with SFAS.
Yes, I know that you left me alone inside this empty.
All right, guys, so as you guys know, like we've talked about before, my experience with SFAS greatly hinged on the fact that I had failed Ranger assessment selection by rolling my ankle real bad. So getting hurt stuck with me, and it was in my head, and it was one of my main focuses when going to SFAS was to not get hurt. I just remember just being so disappointed when I rolled my ankle and it swelled up black, and having to come downstairs and tell the cadre that I was out was one of the worst feelings in Ranger selection. So that was a big weight on my shoulders in SFAS, and that was something I really didn't want to repeat. As far as SFAS goes, gate week was pretty normal. So we did the PT test, we did the runs, we did all that stuff. And then after, we'd go to the classes and learn land navigation. And the way I kind of looked at that first phase was I had to earn classroom days. So in the morning, we'd have to, do a run or a ruck or whatever physical event, and then we'd get to go to class after, and that would be like the reward. It's like you earn that chill time, you earn that, just kicking it in the class and learn how to do land nav. That was yours, and that's how I looked at it. After that, I kind of just focused on getting to team week. Like every morning, that was my goal. It's like we're one step closer to team week. We're one step closer. Obviously, like we've talked about before, land nav was something that I was totally worried about and that stressed me out to the max. I didn't find all my points the first day in land nav. I think you have to find 5 points total. If you find 4 the first day, then you only have 1 the next day to find, so your day's like super chill. That might have changed. It's been a while, but I found 3 the first day. I mapped out my last point and realized that I had just way too many clicks to cover with a small amount of time. So I just kind of relaxed and saved my strength and my energy for the next day. That was a risk. I don't recommend that. I highly recommend that even if you know you're not going to make it to that last point, you still move out. I kicked back and kind of like relaxed and tried to rehydrate and chill, and it was a mistake. I thought I wasn't going to get selected because of it, because the cadre even asked me, they're like, "Did you find all your points?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "What the fuck you doing just sitting back?" I was like, "Shit, that was a mistake." After that, the next day, I found my points. I thought my point was just beyond a draw, like it was in between 2 draws, and so I fought my ass off to get in there, and I had no idea where it was, and I was between 2 draws, so I couldn't move around to go like look for the point, and it was pitch black. There was zero loom. I was essentially I thought it was fucked. I was like, I'm not finding this point. There's no way. Maybe wait for the sun to come up, I don't know. And then just as I was starting to lose hope, some candidate turned their red light on to check their map, and I was like, fuck, yes. And I went to that spot, and there it was. There was a point. I was only off by a couple hundred meters, but there was a draw between me and that point. So honestly, there was no way I was going to see it because it's completely covered if it wasn't for that dude flicking on that red light. So there are times that you're just going to get lucky. I remember a big thing was they called it Black Friday. And that was just where they smoke your ass for a day, just a bunch of CrossFit events, and you're just going in circles. They bring out the lights and shit to make you think that you're going to be there all night long and that it's never going to end. That one you just kind of got to stick through. Well, after Black Friday, I don't remember a lot of it, but I think that's pretty close to getting into team week. Once you get into team week, you need to be super proud of yourself. If you make it to team week, that's a big accomplishment, and you're really trucking at that point. Now, team week is focusing on just helping each other out, being there for each other, like making apparatuses, thinking of the best way to do it, help any way you can. I didn't know how to tie knots, like for shit. I don't know nothing about tying knots. So when those guys were making the apparatus and, the guys that knew how to tie knots are jumping in, I just told them, like, I don't know how to tie knots, guys. Like, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. Outside of that, like, I'll try, but it's probably going to fall apart. There was one instance where we had to move an apparatus from one street through the woods to another road and then finish the apparatus and then start the apparatus from the second road. my perspective was we should carry all the things to the second road so that way we don't have to deal with the trees and things like that. I aired that concern. The team collectively thought it'd be a better idea to build the apparatus and push it through the woods. So I went with what the team wanted to do. I didn't agree with it, but we're a team and that's what it is. So I was like, roger that. Let's do that. So we built it. We pushed it through and it worked out okay. Some of the other teams did it the way a couple of us were thinking of and carrying it. And I mean, it was relatively similar time, so not a huge deal. After team week is that final ruck. And that ruck is long, dude. That ruck, we calculated by what we thought, how long we thought it was. And we were thinking it was around like 23, 24 miles. So what I did that worked really well is I linked up with a buddy and we just offset each other perfectly. When I was lagging and dragging ass, he was like, let's go, dude. Let's go. I'm feeling good. Let's go. And then when he was kind of lagging and dragging ass, I just truck. And then he didn't want to leave me, so then he's just trucking. And then we just did that to each other like the whole time. Like he starts pulling ahead and feeling good. Fuck. And then I got to get on it and start catching up to him. So we kind of buddy teamed it. And you guys don't have to talk about like buddy team. Like, hey man, you want a buddy team? Don't do that because your guys' pace can be completely different. Ruck out at what you think is comfortable. That's what I did. And then that buddy just kind of lined up with us. And then we just did this number the whole way. And we ended up getting like really good times. I guarantee I wouldn't have got that time if it wasn't for trying to keep up with him and him trying to keep up with me. And we just pushed each other and we knocked that thing out. After that comes honestly the hardest part. And that is waiting to find out if you got selected. You know, that's nerve-wracking. Like sitting there waiting. For me, I was nervous as shit, waiting to see if it was all for nothing. And then I walked up to him and he was like, you want because you're supposed to go in the office and hear like your highlights and things like that. He was like, you want the long or the short version? And I was like, short version, please. And he's like, you got selected. And I was like, fuck yes. And he's like, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. He's like, I should get the fuck out. And he just started yelling at me. So I was like, fuck yeah. And I took off running and I was hoping to get a fucking DFAC meal because we've been eating MREs the whole time. And of course, they closed it because the Q course guys were there and they were all eating. So we had MREs. After that, it was chill time for a few days. I ate probably 6, like no joke. I probably ate like 4 or 5, on the last day, 6 MREs a day out of boredom and just like my body just trying to catch up with calories. Don't do that. That was a horrible mistake. I had stomach problems for probably 2 months after that. Like if I ate a vegetable after that, it would just destroy my stomach and I would get like cramping and pain and shit. So that was my experience. We didn't do the typical log PT. Our log PT was like in the Black Friday deal. So it was one of the sections was the log PT. Log PT was kind of a shit show for the short guys because like some guys will lift it up super high and you're like barely holding onto it and you're trying to help them, but you know that you're not even fucking touching the thing. But do your best to like hold it because I mean you're really trying to help each other out and the more hands is less weight. So, but yeah, I mean, my biggest thing for mindset wise was like I knew a buddy who'd got selected, and every morning I woke up and I was like, Kurt did it. My buddy Sellers. I was like, Kurt woke up this morning on this day and he finished the fucking day. And if he could do it, I could do it. So every morning when you wake up and you're feeling all nervous and you're like, fuck, man, I know it's going to be a brutal day and I don't know if I could do it. Just think that I finished it. Or one of your buddies who you know at your unit finished it. He woke up, got to the end, and then did the next day. So it's all doable. Just keep that in mind. And honestly, it was a good experience. It'd be hard to talk about selection and leave out the fact, flying home, being selected. Like that was a badass feeling, man. That felt so good. Being on the plane, going back to your family, like knowing that the time away was worth it and you got selected and it felt good and it kind of gave me that triumph over Ranger selection because I had failed that. So I got to come back from that. And that was an awesome experience. I appreciated it more because I had a failure under my belt. And so it just meant the world to me. So that was my experience with SFAS, guys. When you guys asked for it on the channel, I thought it was a great idea. So I was like, I'm going to jump out here and record that real quick. If you have any other ideas, jump on there and suggest them. Let's keep this content flowing. The book is coming out in March of next year. The podcast is up. I know some of you guys are watching it on the channel. You could also listen to it. It's on iTunes and all that. Jump over to the Instagram page and say what's up to me. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
Yes, I know that you left me.